All right, welcome. So you've all been so well behaved this week watching all these presentations, but we'd like to invite you to turn it down maybe by half. Your cheers and or boos are welcome in this presentation. You're welcome to show your approval or disapproval with your thumbs. Please, thumbs only. I don't want to see your other fingers. But yeah. Jump into it.
We going? All right.
So Tom and I both got our careers started at NI in various roles. We've both dabbled in YouTube, though some of our YouTube channels have more than 1 million views and some of our YouTube channels don't.
Others add more value, but go on.
Tom and I have both spent some time at other careers, and then for the last bit have both been at JKI, where we find ourselves working with a myriad of customers, and Tom and I particularly work very closely together on a lot of different projects, and we've seen a lot of each other's code.
Yeah, and like the working relationship that we have is great. I'm working in the UK, Hunter's in Texas, which means my entire morning is amazing. I get 6 hours of uninterrupted development time. Then Hunter comes on, slacks me, and morning, okay, what's up?
And then I fix all the bugs that he put in the code while he sleeps, and I get the real work done. He may have more stickers than me, but I got the one that counts.
This isn't working.
All right, so we're going to dive into everyone's favorite topic that Jasper already introduced, but we're going to talk about VI icons, putting the graphics in graphical programming.
Yeah, I've had to tear up all my notes based on that presentation. But yeah, there's a couple of things that I think we both agree on. Don't use the default icon.
Never. Never.
Except for oscilloscopes. All VIs should be useful, not necessarily graphical.
And they don't have to be unique, but useful.
Never use 12-pixel banner. What?
No, that's one we agreed to, right? The 12-pixel? No?
No, because the thing is, I want to choose where my activities are, and I very often put a glyph in my banner, because if it's like a messenger library, I'll just put a queue there, and I immediately associate queues with messages.
Tom.
What?
I'm not willing to give up half of my icon for a banner that's going to be the same on everything in my repo.
Again, it's about value added. I need to know, it's a queue function. Great. It doesn't matter what's happening.
How many people use the 12-pixel banner for classes? How many update it to be the standard 9-pixel banner? And how many of you are truly streamlined and going down to the 7-pixel banner? Show the slide, Tom. 7 pixels, 1 row of text, 1 row above and below, the cleanest way to make VI icons.
May I say my opinion? 9 pixels by ref classes and 12 pixels for native classes.
Yeah, you can definitely do different for by reference and by value classes. That's a good strategy.
With here, though, you're breaking the IDE, where you can't do Control-Space, Control-Shift-K, quickly updating your VI icon, giving value to the customer instead of wasting their time.
Yes, Darren Cheeseburger put a bug into Control-Shift-K that required a 1-pixel black border, but I'll show you the quick hack of how to fix his bug, and I'm slowly working on convincing him that it is one.
Who here changes type def icons?
Yes, Tom. See,
Okay,
every VI
to be fair,
and
I thought I was going differently.
every VI and every control should have a useful icon. Again, useful. And it's okay. There's a myriad of easy ways to make icons. You can do Control-Shift, Control-K, and it will try and guess a probably useless name. You can do Control-Shift-K, type in your name, get exactly the thing you want. Or it's easy to just grab a glyph, drop it in. It's really quick and easy. It's not that hard, Tom. Text icons can go a long ways.
To be fair, I don't mind text icons. My public API is always graphical. My private API is text, for the most part. And so I don't mind text. It's better to have a text icon that makes sense to everyone than a graphical icon that only makes sense to the author of that VI. Yeah, like, however,
Have text and
sorry,
self-standard VIs have icons.
I didn't catch that.
Methods
Class methods.
have text. Self-standard VIs have images.
Sure. One way to do it, he was saying class icon's going to have text, and then standalone VI should have icons.
right.
I can get on
Yeah,
board with
okay.
that.
That's fine.
Then I propose something else. If it's hard to make the icon, your VI is doing too much.
I'm coming. Thank you. I like you.
But Tom, can text icon solve all problems?
Yes, unless you're Campbell. Where like, we came across this API. We've been doing a lot of Git automation.
And I've been using this, and it's a good library.
Good luck. The thing I don't like about it is Git has icons for all of these functions.
If only someone had a standard and a graphic to define every action.
Now, the thing I don't like about this is you right-click your object while go to add method. You then have to read all of your methods to work out what you want. I associate images a lot faster than I can read.
The graphical and graphical programming.
It is open source, Tom.
All right, pull request incoming.
Okay.
Jasper, we'll need some help.
Letters are glyphs, so if you use letters, you're using glyphs.
All right,
Right,
Mr.
next.
Symbology, we can tone it down. So here is the only correct way to make a class icon. I generally prefer text banners, though I will occasionally do a graph. But again, 7 pixels, not 12, not 9. We're trying to leave room for the actual activities. And then always make sure you add a unique icon for your class private data. It hurts my soul every time I see one of those generic boxes and all of your classes look the same. So yeah, 7 pixels, transparent background on the class icon, a good private data icon, and then of course, the wire should always match the banner color, and you should never, ever use the default class icon for a customized class.
Yeah, I agree with most of that. Go on. Yep.
How do you come across the point about inheriting from your class and it also inherits the icon?
What a great question.
Great question. Let's forget about that for 2 slides.
But see, once you do it correctly, then the layers stack beautifully and you have nice, clean icons.
How long did it take you to do that animation?
It's okay, Tom. It was on my time.
All right. But yeah, has anyone thought about this before? Where if you're stacking bigger banners on, if your parent has a large banner, like let's say Actor Framework has the Fig banner, and then you override your actors, then you have this happening.
Yeah, all of us have had this happen to us before, and the first time it happens, you have no idea how or how to fix it because of the mystics of the LabVIEW icon layers.
I know why it's happening, but I don't have a good solution for this. We could script it out, but then LabVIEW's just going to reapply it at its next opportunity. This one, who's had this issue where you have white text and then it overlays? Yes,
We'd like to officially name that icon moshing.
Marshing. Yeah, the only solution I know for this one is make it almost white.
Yeah, so there's 2 different things that happen. So one is when your banner it gets merged down, and if you have the checkbox for merge all layers when you exit the VI icon editor, you'll get this every time. And so when it tries to replace the one called NI library, it's not there. It creates a new one on top. And anything greater than 242 RGB values is considered transparent in the icon editor. So you end up with an off-white or a gray or like a nice little yellow patina on your icon if you don't want this, or you have to go through each icon, delete the old banner off the top, and then everything will be nice and calm.
But yeah, we're going to publish this somewhere with some solutions on LinkedIn, so yeah, reach out to us or follow. Oh, wiring. This is a topic that I thought everyone would be in agreement on, and then we actually asked you guys, and
So
Hunter, do you want to?
Tom and I conducted an experiment. We posted this VI on both LinkedIn and the NI forums.
Hands up if you've seen this. Who completed it? Okay, fair
All
enough.
right. So I want those of you who maybe haven't completed it yet. I want right now you think about how you would lay this out. So in this case, we're opening an INI file. We're going to read two different values. We're sending that value to both a queue and an event. Now, we don't have a lot of assumptions and we don't have a lot of requirements here. So it is up to the developer to kind of fill it in. And boy, did they fill it in. We got over almost 150 responses on the NI forums, including someone who thought dark mode LabVIEW was okay. It's not. And it got pretty heated in the comments. At one point, people were comparing their style to rancid meat. So it got pretty heated. But in LabVIEW, there are so many ways. And as Neil was saying, it's nice when you're in something like Python and you can use a formatter like Black. Everyone's code comes out looking the same with only minor variations. But in LabVIEW, there is no standard. And so we want to introduce a few terms to talk about wiring.
In a few slides' time. But so we have common ground that everyone seemed to agree with. Don't have one pixel wire bends, and to not have those, keep your 4224.
And with all apologies to Jeff K, parallelism is vertical, not horizontal. So sorry, channel wire, not this time.
What's that one? Oh yeah, change the color of your objects. Absolutely. Oh yeah, so here's our wiring conventions of, these are the 4 categories everyone seemed to fit into: railroad, multi-bus, sequential, or parallel. Parallel merge. If we go top left, right, bottom left, right as 1, 2, 3, 4. Shout out to
who here's using railroad tracks whenever possible? Who here defaults to the multi-bus baseline, where you're having your error wire snake up and down?
Yep.
Who here keeps the error wire as one flat line through your entire code?
Boo.
And who likes the parallel error merge?
Yeah, sometimes.
All right, a few of you. Now, I do want to point out, in the sequential error baseline, the bounce to baseline behavior, where you can see that after we open the INI file, the reference has to bounce up to that line so that that bus goes all the way across. Who does the bounce to baseline? All right, we only have a few people who are wrong, but that's good. But yeah, sometimes you'll see code where they've defined the error line as here, and so every error does this between every node, even though the nodes are right next to each other, because they want to preserve that baseline. I don't think it makes your code more readable. Come on.
Yeah, we've called this corner snapping, and this is what I like to do, or at least before LabVIEW 2022. Because you can see the difference in wiring behavior here. And I saw some of your G snippets. So I think...
Who uses corner snap wiring when they can? Who's mad that they broke it in 2022?
Yeah.
All right, Nancy, let's make it an option. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, so, yeah, I used to go back and forth, like, to quickly snap. And then now I just click both sides and pull down. But
And in America, we call it goalpost wiring.
USA. Anything else on this? Right, he's not here today, it's all right. I'm going to show the code. One of you, meaning the community, did this. Who likes this approach?
Yeah. I think too often we're trying to optimize for the error case. That like, well, what happens if my file is broken, but my queue isn't, but my event isn't, and I want to somehow make the best of the world? And you're like, no, you realized optimize for the nominal case. That's the one you want to optimize for.
And also, the more you look at it, the more you understand, oh, actually, everything's happening almost in parallel. We've optimized everything to be in parallel. But we're doing file I/O. File I/O is an expensive activity.
I think you can take the hit of the in queue next to your file I/O and not worry about the timing too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally you should always don't sacrifice readability for performance, with a few exceptions, unless you're in that high performance loop. And then you're going to leave a nice note and say, I'm sorry, but here's why I did it this way. Otherwise, I generally prefer keep that error nice and sequential. If you don't need parallelism, don't make your code harder to read.
Could get less efficient if you make copies of your error.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right,
Something we,
time for the big one.
yeah.
So, who likes using unmodified class outputs? Meaning, if you take your class through your VI, in order to maintain the railroadability of your code, you will pass that unmodified class all the way out. And who here is?
By reference is another topic. Assuming by value in these objects.
And who here? And now I will point out these images are from Darren Nattinger's Into Brainless Programming, where he's of course selected the brainless wire color. But yeah, I will concede that the bottom approach of not passing them out is the more technically correct, but at the expense of your code readability, especially once you start to integrate this with the multi-bus architecture, and now you have 4 or 5 classes that need to pass data back and forth to each other. It gets really difficult to keep track of where your wires are when you can have nice, clean railroads. So that's a great idea, and that's why I put the context help there. I think we need a feature that would have a parentheses and show which ones are unmodified, or maybe a little glyph on the VI and give you a hint.
I already know if it's unmodified because it's you're not passing it through.
I think so.
But what's the problem? If you change something inside non-modified class to modify method to modify method, you have to change everything.
Well, that sounds like a different function, though.
Yeah, you can put dupe. You know, that's a common convention in LabVIEW, like especially in a lot of the file AO functions where you pass the path in and it'll have path dupe. But then are you going to update that every time? Are you going to make sure that you don't put dupe on the wrong one? So I think we need an IDE feature that can detect that. And I will note that if I do have an unmodified class, I will always try to pass it around the error case structure. I don't want you to hunt through three cases to realize that it's unmodified. I'll try to make it as easy as possible. But to be fair, I've gone back and forth on this like 4 times. I've been through my my militant, technically correct phase.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're looking at code that you wrote more than 6 months ago, you naturally start to, what was I thinking?
And
It's not just about modifying the class, it's also about is the method, does it have a side effect? So if it generates a queue or an event, you probably want to wire the output anyway, so you can synchronize by the wire.
Yeah, and if you're using something like a JKI state machine, you don't want to have to bundle it back in if there's no point. And so then it can be nice. So there certainly are trade-offs, but currently I'm in my railroad phase, so I almost always default to passing it out, even out of accessors.
Just one thing, Hunter. Given that this is talk about style, you should probably do documentation.
we have a free label.
Who makes VI documentation? Come on. Only if it's a public API that I'm publishing to a large group, but otherwise I'm not going to take the time to update that.
All right.
You want to test it, then that's your test requirement.
Is your test reading that data? Yeah.
Basically, you write what you're supposed to get out and how it's supposed to work.
I'd rather write my unit test to do that.
Unit testing is documentation.
That's the VI name, right? You paste the VI
Thanks,
name in the
Alan. Let's move on to error handling. Now, this is a section where we're going to move from style preferences to actual style functionality that will have an effect on your code and how your code will actually execute and why we're doing it wrong. First off, warnings.
Friends don't let friends warnings.
Yeah. So have we all seen the visa warning when you read the exact number of bytes you expect to read? Then you have that warning stuck in your shift registers because there's we don't have an ability to check for warnings in LabVIEW. And I would quite like a warning case in my...
I love the idea of warnings, but yeah, NI needs to... They recently upgraded the case structure that now you can specify specific error numbers. We need the same with warnings, and we need a structure that can catch only the default 0 no message case so that we can make sure that we can actually handle warnings. Otherwise, warnings will get trapped in a shift register or pass through every VI in your repo and then drop somewhere. So currently, DOM warnings.
But yeah, I like the idea of this could be a bug, so be careful, but you're fine. Oh yeah, next one. Accessors should, well, reads should only have 2 terminals, object in, data out.
Yeah, and to be on the slide, that X should be 1 wire down. That got shifted at some point. But yeah, so who here always removes the wires from their accessors? Every time?
Yeah.
That's such a relief in your code.
Now, when you do remove the wires from your accessors, do you also make your icon a little shorter so that that wire can sneak underneath and you don't ruin your railroad tracks?
No.
Yes. It doesn't need to be in the railroad because you program it by wire, so you can put it upside there.
Hunter has very big VIs though, so he doesn't have space to do that. Whereas I don't have an issue with it. I'll have my 32 by 32 icon for accessors.
And I think... Yeah, property nodes just don't. I don't like them. I recently was digging through a third-party driver that I need to work with, and they had implemented class property nodes for all of the class accessors and all of the class methods. So sometimes you would look at a property node and it would just set a value in the class, and other times it would do a visa write. That's an abomination. You cannot make a class property node abstraction and then do actual I/O in it.
Does anyone have automatic error handling enabled?
Boo.
Boo. What's your use case? Okay.
Yeah, unjustifiable.
An unjustifiable use case.
Quick prototyping. So there is a code quality continuum, and so if you're in quick prototyping mode, even I don't make icons for those. But yeah, as you get to proof of concept code that you might need to replicate later, and then development code, and then production code, and then critical production code, all of these rules become more and more important. I've had to file 2 different driver bug reports because the third party left automatic error handling on inside of a locked VI, and I couldn't catch the pop-up. For instance, like if you tried to connect to the device and the device wasn't there, you'd get a cryptic pop-up, and it's like, please let me catch that. And so yeah, the last one I reported, they did fix it.
Nice. I remember that.
Can I have the mic real quick?
Sure. Yeah. Oh dear.
Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that automatic error handling is the first damn thing I turn off when I install LabVIEW because I hate it. That said, I feel a certain obligation to share the use case for it that I had described to me, and we can decide, individually if we like this or not. In a scenario where you are building an executable, and you know that you're going to end in an executable, and that is a part of your process. There will be an executable. We are never, ever going to run out of the IDE. You leave automatic error handling on as a development step so that those things pop up, and then you actively decide if you care about it or not, and that usually drives you to actually doing something with all of your errors, which I also kind of hate. But and then when you go to the build, you turn it off. And I don't do that. As I said, I hate this feature. It's not a feature; it's a bug. But at least that's a rational use case.
Can I have the microphone as well, please?
Can we get the second microphone floating around? Or?
For your simple accessors should not have error terminals. Do you modify the accessor template, or do you do that on an ad hoc basis?
That way.
Yeah, you can uncheck include error.
Yeah, there are
terminals.
2 options, but I need to also modify it so I get my shorter accessor too. But yeah, you can pick whether you want errors or not from that dialog. Though I wish you could pick what they're named, because I don't want read space name. I want name.get, name.set, the only correct way to do it.
I do agree with that. But, sorry?
If you edit the localization VI down in VILib, you can change the string format.
Oh, I need to find that.
Change mine to get instead.
Neil's going to post in Discord where you can turn that on. Thank you.
Nice one. Okay, let's go on to something a bit controversial. Can I go? Ooh. Implicit versus explicit error handling.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm going. Okay. So
You're red, I'm blue. Come on.
if I have a VI that is called destroy, The purpose of that VI to me is to get that class ready to exit. Make sure I'm not leaking any references. Make sure that everything is cleared. If I try and close a reference that is already closed and I get an error, I don't care. The point of that function is to everything is gone.
But if I dropped the reference earlier, I want to know about it.
And you would have known about it if it was an issue.
But it's about the principle. I'm militant. Every error should be handled with a few exceptions. Like I never handle my errors from format to string or things that in principle shouldn't error. The weirdest one was when I made a
questionable principles then. Okay.
Why would you wire the error in because it's ignored?
So I wish we had some kind of convention that would be clear on which things don't care about the error you wire in, because it does seem to be a little bit of a guess and a little bit of the rumor that we all develop that LabVIEW superstition about which things I absolutely can pass an error through and it's totally fine and it'll totally still close my reference, and which things I need to very explicitly pass around. But on one of my shutdowns, I'm going to catch every single error and put it in just in case I drop something. Because if I did, it means I've made a bug and I might be dropping other things, including the error that would have told me I dropped it.
I think you guys are both mistaken.
Mark has entered the chat.
In either one of those, if you have a dependency of one on the other, then you are in a race condition on each of these situations. You could be closing a dependency of another.
Well, but I keep this nice and encapsulated in my destroy, and all of my events that I cared about happened before I even got into this VI. But otherwise, you end up adding a synchronized data flow so that you can send your stop event before you kill your queue. But you don't want to pass the error in, so you end up having to add a flat sequence structure or add a synchronized data flow just to get the execution order to be correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's a common design in like AF, where you send a stop message and then, oh no, sorry, if you're updating a UI, you might send a stop and destroy straight away.
Yeah, I want you to go back a slide because I wanted to make one more point here. So if you do want to ignore your errors, I personally would always go for option F to only ever ignore or clear the explicit error. And just like it says at the bottom, you always leave a note and explain why that error. I'll usually have the error code, the summary of that error, and then explain why we don't care about it in this case. Tom and I had a customer recently who said, I kept getting an error from this thing, so I just put a clear error in and it went away.
Yeah, that one, I was reading that Slack message like several times, like, that's not how we do it. Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, that's how Tom writes error-free code.
Yeah. It's been a while since I talked about Actor Framework. I've done 1.5 presentations, and I've not. One of the reasons why I tend to go towards ignoring the errors is because of I don't want to challenge the IDE or the framework. If we have a look at actor.vi, specifically, that's a bit messy. Let's clean this up. So in this VI, we have our queue bus going up and around and over. We have our actor going in, up, around, up, down, under. And so for this slide, I rearranged it to my style. I didn't add or remove any nodes. I just rearranged to have it something like this.
Ooh.
Where all of my queues are straight. My actor is straight. And then it's in sections. Another thing I tend to do for documentation is this numbering pattern, where I have one big comment at the bottom of the code, if then numbers where, like, the associated comments. But sorry, that wasn't the point I wanted to make. It was, I have to go back now. Who can tell me what this, you can't see that. Who can tell me what this override is?
Alan, we're looking at you.
That's the new one, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Uninitialize.
well, it's actually uninit.vi. But notice how it doesn't have error in or error out. Stephen Mercer, who we're not going to argue with, probably.
He doesn't work for an eye anymore.
Yeah, but you're Alan C. Smith. So, where the idea is that in pre-launching it, which is here, you might create a bunch of references. And then over here in uninit, you might close all of those references. So you have like this one-to-one. You also have like the stop override or stop core override, where you get the final error code, but there's no error output terminal. And I guess that's where my mindset comes in, because I use AF, I'm an AF fanboy. And so you just sort of get used to it.
Yeah, I like debugging my code, so I'm not. As we looked at the previous, if we looked at the previous destroy logic, where we generally want to pass that error in around our code so that our code won't be harmed by it, does anyone not pass an error in to a destroy to make it clear that this behavior is, or you never trust it and you always have to wire it around, no matter how many layers deep you are in destroy, to make sure that that error is not going to come in and tank it? Or do you trust that you know which ones are going to be are going to execute anyway?
You usually want the error in to synchronize it.
Yeah, he's saying usually want an error in to synchronize, because the error wire is only a part-time error handler. It's mostly a execution data flow tool.
Yeah, I mean, I will use, I don't know if this is controversial, but I'll use a single frame sequence structure just to synchronize my destroy code.
Why don't
so
you
I
synchronize
have to-
data flow?
Yeah, but I don't want the error in, because I don't inherently trust that it will operate on error in. I'm pretty sure it will do, but I'm not taking that risk.
And that's the LabVIEW superstition that we all developed. That
But again, we need a convention to say, will this close reference? It will. But will it operate on an error?
So what we're saying is we need to find more ways to squeeze more information into that icon.
Yeah. If only we could have like Zoom and make it.
If it closes the reference, if it doesn't generate an error, why does it have an error out? That would solve it.
I still want to know if one of my events was destroyed before I got to it. So I still want to pass my error out.
Yeah.
It can generate an error, but it will operate on an error in.
Yeah, it'll operate on an error in, but should I just not have an error in on this VI at all, so that rather than passing it around inside of my sub VI, I'm passing it around in the caller?
My point is, why is there an error out on something that's going to be all done?
I want to know
And that's
if
exactly
I
my point.
partially destroyed my my class before I got to my destroy, and maybe dropped a reference. For instance, you wired. Someone put in a diagram disable structure and forgot to reconnect the class wire through the enabled case because they were trying to comment something out.
Oh,
And then you've dropped every one of your references. You've dumped your class on the floor. You get to your destroy. You close your eyes and you say it's totally fine.
we're running out of time, so we need to fast forward. But I've just thought of another thing I want to say. When you implement an interface, so you override a must override method, who's noticed that the error terminals aren't wired in your brand new override? Okay, a couple of us. I hate that, because if I'm not ready to implement functionality there, I might create those overrides, save them, move on. And what I've done is I'm just clearing all errors in those overrides by mistake, because I'm not ready to go into them and wire them. Yeah, we need to crack on
pick it
a
up.
bit. Oh yeah, who cares about the Z order of error wires? Okay, Hunter, do you?
I could literally not care less.
Yes, say that. When Hunter and I were getting ready for this presentation, he mentioned, well, Hunter was inconsolable because he wasn't able to meet Fabiola. And he
I was like, I'm going to Europe. I can finally meet her.
yeah, but Hunter was heartbroken. So I've arranged a little something for you, Hunter. Oh, no.
Well, you can still hear her.
And modest. And hi everyone, I'm so sorry I missed GDevCon this year, and I hope I get to see you again next year. Regarding
Shall I start that again?
I thought you weren't kidding. This screen is huge. Oh, hi, Hunter. It's me, Fab, as in fabulous and modest. And hi, everyone. I'm so sorry I missed GDevCon this year, and I hope I get to see you again next year. Regarding error wires, I like to put the error wires in the background, move them to the back, because they are normally part of the background. They're present in most VIs, if not all of them, and they're not the main actors. You want the main signals, the ones that are different at each VI, to be on the front. Anyway, bye guys. I hope somebody took a picture of me, because this screen is huge.
There you go. And I'm sure.
All right, all due respect, but ain't nobody got time for that. Come on.
No, you quick drop shortcuts. We script everything. For-leaf para handling. Some of these are.
So with your hand, show me which number you generally implement by default in your code. 5. I see a lot of 5s. All right. I think 5 is the easiest way because you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about a 0-element array dropping your error on the floor. And I don't really care if it executes 3 error times after it does. Again, because I'm optimizing for the nominal case and not for the failure case. If I really care about it, we can add the conditional stuff.
Yeah. So I'm not going to take questions at the moment, but I started with 3 because that's what VI Analyzer tells you to do, and if you don't do it like this, you get a warning. I then went on to 4 because I don't want a massive array of no errors. I just want the errors that I want. But now I'm like, this code will only output the first error that occurs. And so I don't want a big array of probably the same error many times. So I wrote a small reuse thing that just maintains the first error that occurs in a feedback node and outputs.
Well, and I really like it, except you made it nice and small, but then you added that giant polymorphic drop-down.
It's polymorphic, so you can choose the implementation.
All right, we got to keep it moving,
We're going to
guys.
keep going, if that's all right. So another issue with this is, you're building this massive array. Your memory usage goes up. I was curious and superstitious whether, after my compiler talk earlier, whether LabVIEW knew just to not do this, but clearly memory is being used. Interestingly, though, if you put in 2.14 billion, the max of an i32, LabVIEW seems to inherently know just not to bother with that, which I
it's
thought
a feature,
was
not a bug.
It's go on.
Yeah, 2 quick caveats. So when you do need to fail fast, if you have something in your for loop that takes a long time, throw in that conditional. And then the pattern that I like using is I don't want to accumulate my errors. I want to accumulate the content because I'm not going to report 75 errors to my user and let JSON do it for me and make it an unreadable format. So instead, I'll extract the little piece of information I want out, accumulate that, throw it in a new line delimited list, and now I can have one clean error to my user, especially for something like I'm parsing a CSV file. I don't want them to load it, get 1 error, reload it, get another error, and have to do it 10 times. I want them to get 1 error that says you have errors on line 7, 6, and 12.
That I like that. We're at risk of disappointing someone on the internet if we don't mention this. We are out of time, though.
Yep.
Speed round. Wire around structures whenever possible.
Always turn on structure labels. That was actually my feature on the ID Exchange.
Lowercase terminal names.
Hide iteration terminals when not used. Thank you for the shout out earlier.
Block diagram dots, not grid or blank.
We use base 10 numbers, so please use a 10-pixel front panel grid to make all of your sizing easy.
Coerce the type, don't have coercion dots.
Show constant folding. You can sometimes pick up some useful info, and it's not bad to look at.
All of your block diagrams should be appropriately sized on your primary monitor in the top left corner.
And of course, you should set your connector pane to default to be required by default to eliminate bugs that you would otherwise forget to wire a terminal and then have some horrible thing happen.
What's this?
Okay, so this is actually a piece of my code. So feel free to take a picture, draw it, critique, tell me where I'm wrong. But the thing I wanted to point out here is something that we do at JKI called diagram striping, where we've taken the successive structures and alternated them gray and white. And of course, I've automated this through a quick drop shortcut. Now I have a hard time looking at code when it's not striped, but I definitely think it makes code a little easier to read. And note my the little short accessors there.
It's difficult to see on this screen, but the what's the word? Every other case is a slightly darker gray.
Yeah, that is disappointing. I'll post a picture in the Discord.
Quick question, Hunter. The second accessor, was that a monocle?
Yes, that is a monocle. Good eye.
Don't
So
get me started on his custom kit.
I have a template with a read monocle so that I can save space. There's also a write.
In conclusion, it's not that complicated, right?
It's not.
Why does it matter? Consistency, readability, possibly reliability in between teammates. Don't reinvent the wheel. No smelly code.
But yeah, we all know about code smell. When you first open a VI, and the execution can be fine, the logic can be flawless, but if it's messy, you don't trust it. I wouldn't want to eat in a restaurant with a messy kitchen, and so trying to use messy code can be hazardous.
Having said that, I would rather have food from a messy kitchen, provided it was perfectly safe. I wouldn't want to.
That it had been tested.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the way we do style at JKI, and to be honest, Tom and I had to flip a coin on a few of these to decide who would debate which side, because generally we find ways to agree. I always make sure we're keeping priorities in mind. So I will always, in like a pull request, I will always hit something if it's not safe, if it's not functional, and only after I satisfy those two will I go for consistent, and only after that's satisfied will I go for clean code. And so in a pull request, I'll always say this. Otherwise, I might indicate a nit for a nitpick and say, hey, I would do it differently, but I'm not going to block the pull request on this. You have to learn to pick your battles. You have to learn which things you're going to be militant on and which things you're going to allow for some leeway.
And I think the key thing is make it easy so we actually do the things.
And you don't really have a style guide if you don't write it down. So this is actually what I do before I save every VI. I run 4 quick drop shortcuts, or I have a meta one. So first, it's going to make a quick icon if I didn't want to take the time to make a graphic one. It's going to replace it with NXG controls, my personal favorite. Then I'm going to use a slightly improved version of arrange, the built-in function that will snap my labels in. And so when I can do this and I end up with nice, clean, consistent sub-VIs, it makes code really nice.
Yeah, and our JKI programming standards for style is automated and regulated.
Yeah, so this is a tool we've made for static analysis called JCrawler that will run a bunch of rules.
Think of like a good VI analyzer.
But this will also fix an extensible one. This will also fix it. So there you can see the second to last column is diagram striped. It's warned me that 4 of the VIs in my project were not striped. I can just click that fix button, and it will go ahead and stripe all of those for me. Some of these can be fixed, all the ones with parentheses. Others, like if you've named it wrong or if it's broken, you can't. But with this, I can guarantee that no one, go ahead and show the next slide. I can guarantee that no one will ever commit a broken VI to the repo, because these run in pull requests, and make sure that you don't forget to delete that orphaned sub-VI that you removed from the class but forgot to delete from disk. So the question is, what style rule would you want to automate and enforce using a tool like this?
And answer that on Discord. Yeah, that's us done. Thank you very much, everyone. This has been an awesome GDevCon. It's gone super quickly.
Yeah, my first one over on this side of the pond. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks.